Welcome to the Going North podcast, where we will deliver you tips and techniques to advance yourself in anything you decide to do. I'm your host, author, speaker, and book enthusiast, Dom Brightman, and every Thursday I will interview authors, especially self-published ones, from various walks of life, who will deliver you some inspiration and information to advance yourself. Be sure to check out my book called Going North on Amazon.com, available in both ebook and paperback. And let's get on with the show. This is going to be a special show because this guest right here has overcome a lot. And he has got a great story. And he's got a series of books because he is an author. And he is the only change/resilient strategist in the US of A that uses the Cary series to radiate the brain and change the game. And his name is Sir Charles Cary. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing just fantastic, Dominic. How are you, sir?
Feeling great, feeling great.
Good. Thank you for having me on your program.
Yes. Thanks for answering the call, because it's really an honor to have a great guest on an up-and-coming podcast just to help folks out. So just tell us a bit about yourself and how you got to where you currently are today.
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. It's a long journey, so I'm glad that this is a 2-hour podcast. But, honestly, there were a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. Initially, my life was going to be that of a musician. Mostly everyone in my family is into music. They perform or they play an instrument or both. And that was the path that I thought was designed for me. And I started following that path, actually. I started following that path, and I discovered, a few years into it, that there was a lot involved. And there was a lot going on. And one of the things that was going on, which unfortunately was not a great thing, was some of the challenges, some of the life challenges that you endure and that you come across. And before I knew it, I looked up and I had picked up a nice, neat, and dirty habit. And I became a substance abuser in my life. So that was one of the first things that I noticed about that lifestyle. And I enjoyed it, at least so I thought, and I thought I could control it. But I learned later in life that it was doing more damage than I could have ever imagined. And, of course, when you're in that space, many times, I know most people anyway, you're in denial. You can't see what other people see. And I couldn't see it. I really couldn't see it, Dom. I was like, thinking that I got this, or I can stop anytime I want to. And I actually couldn't. And I won't say that I lost friends over it, but I think I lost opportunity. And you don't know which opportunities. Even in hindsight, when you have a clear mind, you just don't know what did I blow by being in that environment. And I, came to a point that I know I needed to make a shift, an actual change in my life. Because my dad, he had always told me that I couldn't look at myself in the mirror, that was a problem. And this one particular day, I remember hearing him say that, and I'm thinking, why am I remembering this? The last time he told this to me, I was about 9 years old. Meanwhile, the time is coming back to me. I'm all of 36, 37. I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
Where'd that thought come from? And the reality was I was beginning to get a wake-up call, a real honest to goodness wake-up call, because I looked in the mirror and I did not like what I saw. Couldn't stand the sight of myself because I realized I was a drug addict. And I had to change. I just had to change. Having children, I have 3 children. At the time, the two younger ones, they were just so full of energy, and they looked to me to help them and take them and do things. And man, that was just the beginning of the transition that would take place in my life. Well, I know that's a lot to share, but The story goes on. I don't know if you want me to, should I share more or no?
I mean, go on ahead, go on ahead. Folks need to learn.
At that point, I made some serious commitments to myself, and I am a man of faith, and I put my faith in God that the changes I need, He would see me through them all. There's a verse that says, "Faith without works, well, we know it's dead," right? So I
Very
had to
true.
act. I had to take deliberate action, and I did. And all the time, I didn't know if I was going to make it because my children mean the world to me, and to go through this process is sort of like, they talk about the Indians that send the young boys out into the woods so they can become a man, or men go on these journeys to go find their inner spirit, and they come back months and months later. Well, it was like that, all
Something
alone.
like that.
Yeah, and you just never know how things are going to turn out. You want them to be great. You want them to be, complete. You want to have success, but you're walking in the dark, not knowing what's next. And I went through that entire process with this huge longing for my children. And honestly, I'm grateful that I was able to come through that process, get myself back on my feet, got a clear head, got a place to live and a job. And I was able to leave the facility that I was in as a complete whole person. And my children, not immediately, but soon, I began to have them back in my life. And that was just the thing that made the biggest difference to me. So from that point on, I got out in the world, started my life over. Actually, I became a Toastmaster. Just because. And I thought about, I should write a book. I should help some other people. Wrote about 40 pages and got stuck. But the thing was, years later, I started meeting people like Dr. Willie Jolly and, learning about Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and John Maxwell, all these great leaders and thought leaders and people that were doing wonderful things. And I was like, wow. And it really attracted me. Of course, this is the abridged version, but it really attracted me that you can earn a living by helping people and using philosophy, and you can help people, that couldn't help themselves. So I started learning more about the craft of speaking, and
Mhm.
thank God I got pretty decent at it. And I started writing my books, and one thing led to another, to an opportunity to get a speaking engagement. Then I got certified as a trainer and the trainer program. I went through all the steps of, really educating myself and investing in myself. Once that was done, it was on. I really gotten a lot better and understood how this business works. And there's still more to learn. That was just the beginning. Got on my feet and really started doing something that was important. I let music go, totally transitioned and focused on speaking and training, coaching and writing. And I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, that was the direction that I wanted to go in for the rest of my life. And then I was told I had cancer.
Oh man.
So, it was really a tough blow. But like before, I knew that I was covered. I can't explain how I knew it, but I just felt it. And I didn't believe in the doctors or the medicine or the medical profession because, we know that medicine is big business, and I
Yeah.
don't care. It's not big caring, it's big business. So I didn't want to be a number. I didn't want to be probed. I didn't want to be a guinea pig for anyone. So I refused any treatment. But several years later, they told me that it had actually spread. So I got my questions answered, and I just decided to move forward, and after everything was all said and done, the cancer was arrested, and I thought I was great, but it came back.
Oh man.
Yeah, it came back like about 8 years later, so that was around 2011, my last episode. I was hospitalized immediately, and it was coupled with jaundice, so it was
Oh.
cancer and jaundice. I mean, they told me that I was really close to death's door,
Oh my gosh.
and yeah, you just never know. That's why we have to realize that life is so, so precious, and it would be great and smart to honor one another and respect one another, because the next day is not promised to any of us. But I'm grateful enough to know that that was about 5, 6 years ago, and I've come through that challenge, and gone on to write a couple of more books. One was an Amazon bestseller, and my signature book was Radiate the Brain and Change the Game. And
Love
most
that
recently,
title.
yeah, thank you. Most recently, we just dropped our latest book, which we were pretty excited about, because that's my third book set, Aligned by Design, Linked into Your Legacy. It sort of continues the conversation where Radiate the Brain and Change the Game left off. So, I mean, I know that was a lot of information to dump on you at one time, but it took me a while to get where I'm at, and I've learned and studied with some of the greats, and from afar as well as up close.
That is just amazing. It's especially it's just like you. It's like music is in the family, and then you go down the path, and then you end up being a drug addict. Then you overcome it and
Yeah,
just just turn it around, and then become an Amazon best-selling author, a national trainer, certified speaker. It's really great,
yeah.
and just
And there
keep.
are a lot of little stories in between it, Dom, that, it teaches about perseverance and faith. And, I'll tell you one really quick if I can. See if I've never shortened it up, but I'll just give you what I think is a short version. While getting on my feet and, I had already overcome the substance abuse, moved. Now I'm in a new city, and I get an opportunity to work in this government agency. And a woman I meet there says, "Wow, I like your style. I like the way you present yourself, the way you dress, you carry yourself. I would love if you could work for me." Now, I had only been there a few months. So a few
Wow.
months later, it's hitting the 6 to 9 month period. Some kind of way she gets her way, and she gets me the opportunity to work with her. She gets me a raise in office. And just under 2 years, I made a mistake with one of the procedures, and she says, "I don't know if this is going to work out. You can't stay with us." And I'm like, "What?" I
Mm,
couldn't believe it.
mm,
And what happened was they put me in another position, and I just sat there doing nothing all day.
oh,
And I knew that my job was limited. I was probably going to lose, my position. And there was another gentleman there, senior management, and he said, "Look, come with me. If it wasn't for that man seeing something in me that he admired, and introducing me to his staff and putting me in the training department, I wouldn't have gotten the certifications, and I wouldn't have gotten the opportunities." And he helped me actually become a national trainer, speaker, and author by traveling around the country, representing that government agency, teaching and empowering and inspiring many government employees all over the country. So, yeah, it's wild, man. It's really wild.
and that is great, and it also shows the importance of always being that positive person and just sharing a good word with somebody, because you never know where that could lead them.
Yep. I mean, every time he and I would see each other, we'd always like match wits, or match, not wits, but match notes, talking about suits and, just sports, just general stuff, just a general mutual respect. And never knew that this was going to come out of it. But, people make mistakes, people fall down, people fall short. And when you treat people right, you just never know who's going to come to your rescue.
Hmm.
You got to be a willing participant in your own rescue, but no man is an island. You can't do it all by yourself.
Amen. Is there any like books that you would recommend to folks out there to read that have like helped you to just stay on course and to stay on path?
All right, but I have so many books, man. A lot I've read, and some I just don't want to get to. So instead of a book, I'd probably say, let me tell you some authors that people could look at that I think can be game changers in their lives. I'll be honest with you. These are my mentors. Like I say, some are personal and some are mentors from afar, like Dr. Willie Jolly. I mean, the man is phenomenal as a presenter and as a talent. I have all of his books. It only takes a minute. A setback is a setup for a comeback. Delatoro McNeil, of course, Caught Between a Dream and a Job. John Maxwell, Failing Forward. Les Brown, Live Your Dreams. I mean, all of these gentlemen have books that really teach you how to sink your teeth in and make a difference in your life. Now, there are other books too that don't necessarily focus on the personal development, but more on the professional development in the speaking world. But I would say Dr. Jolly, Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Delatoro McNeil, John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, these gentlemen, never can forget Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah.
These men, their work, and there are literally tons more. There are literally tons more. And what I'm trying to do, I'm starting to shortcut the process by getting the audio books because there's so much good information. I want to get as much of it in me as possible. But these guys that I mentioned, man, they have been game changers in my life.
And how about any music as well? Is there any music that inspires you as well, or just helps you get started
That's
on a
that's
day?
a dangerous topic right there because coming from a musical background, I really have always been inspired by certain people like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Almost anything they did prior to, let's say, 85 was really inspirational from a creativity or creative perspective. Their writing, their song arrangements, the stuff that they wrote about, not just love and romance, but, current events. I was a big Jackson's fan. I really liked
Yeah.
their material as well back in the day. But there's so many people that musically have influenced me. Of course, James Brown was one of my favorite artists of all time.
I gotta love that guy. Gotta love him.
Man, I mean, and it wasn't that he's a good vocalist because he's not. He's a great arranger and showman. That's where his genius and his brilliance comes from. But I mean, today though, I can tell you today, coming up from those times, Hall and Oates, even he recently passed, George Michael, because I like all sorts of artists, black artists, white artists. Doesn't matter. If you're good, you're good. And if what you do resonates with me, I'm really a supporter of your craft. Johnny Gill, as a
Uh,
solo or even as in a part of a group. Man, I really like his style. But today, really, right now, I'm liking Bruno Mars, man. I'm liking his stuff, man.
yeah, that 24 karat magic's been playing everywhere.
Well, not just that one, the previous album also, and then he's got another one, Doo-Wops. I think Doo-Wops and something, I don't remember the full title of the album, but his style is just really good, and his songwriting. See, the music is catchy, that's important. You gotta have a story, you gotta have a message. Even though he's talking about romance and stuff like that, you gotta have a good message. So I kind of like him for his today's music. Him and Kim and John Legend. Yeah, if anyone, I would definitely tag those guys. Absolutely.
Definitely, definitely indeed. I did like the part that you mentioned how it's important for the music to have a message as
Yes.
well.
Yes, because today, I mean, I get it. You can create a beat really quickly. I still have my music studio here, my software, and I can create a beat. And most people, they're just capitalizing off of a fancy beat and a quick phrase. Imagine if you take radiate the brain and change the game and make that the hook. Radiate the brain, radiate the brain. You know what I'm saying? You can sample it, loop it. And if you have the right beat, people won't even know what it's about, but they'll dance to it. They'll buy it.
Hmm.
I think I don't have it available, but one of my last project, one of the best songs on that CD, that uptempo, was a song called "Everybody Knows," and that got a lot of attention because it got me paid. Man, people were buying my CD, and I was getting royalty checks. So everyone liked "Everybody Knows."
Everybody knows and everybody likes.
That's right. You know what? That's right there. That could work right there. Everybody knows and everybody likes. You know, shoot, I would love for the Black Eyed Peas to have Everybody Knows and do something with it.
Hopefully this will probably reach them.
Yeah,
And they'll
yeah,
find
yeah.
out.
Get Will I Am on the scene.
Definitely. So with all of this like wisdom and knowledge that you've gained and are still gaining and still pouring into others, is there any advice you would give to someone who's looking to be a corporate trainer and just a motivational speaker and a best-selling author?
Yeah, I mean, whether you want to be a speaker or if you really are interested in music, whatever it is, even if you want to be a carpenter, don't rest on your laurels. I mean, I think that's a big mistake I made in the past when it came to music, and I try to make sure that I don't repeat that same mistake in other areas of my life. And I guess more specifically, what I'm saying is be a student of your craft, constantly just work at it. You know, don't just be good when it's showtime, but practice it even when you don't have a gig. Look at your material, go over it so that you know it like the back of your hand. Earlier this year, I did a keynote in Silver Spring, Maryland. It was for baby boomers. And for some reason, my PowerPoint wouldn't show up on the screen. And that's a
Darn.
problem. Yeah, I use Mac. I'm an Apple guy, so sometimes that's the issue. People are set up for PC, and I'm an Apple guy. Even though I had my adapter, it still didn't work. So that could have just blew me out the water. But because I know my material, I knew what to do. I knew how to flow even without my actual presentation. So here I am doing a 30 or 45-minute keynote, and I don't have a slideshow. So I was able to flow with it. Good thing a friend of mine was in the audience, was a sort of like a graphic person. She knows her stuff and knows her way around computers. She came up and she looked at my computer and she worked on it. She worked on it. And maybe 15 minutes later, she was able to bring it back up. So I had to let my presentation catch up with me.
Nice.
So I really think that just be a student of the business. Don't feel uncomfortable. Eat, sleep, and drink your business. I mean, be all about it. I think that's one of the most important things that you can do, especially if you know that that this is an area you want to be in.
Sage advice indeed. Don't just get ready, gotta stay ready.
Yeah. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
That is being mature indeed. All right. So any advice for the millennials out there in 2017? Let's say if you were 25 right now in 2017, what major piece of advice would you tell yourself?
Well, what I would tell myself is that I know you want to do a lot of things, and I know you have a lot of interest, and you think you're smart and you're talented, and you are. However, the smart money is make sure you always reserve a little energy for yourself personally. Don't spend yourself all in one area. For instance, I did growing up. I wrote poetry. I wrote my lyrics. I sang and performed. I loved dancing, and I did all that kind of stuff. And as I got older, I pretty much stayed in a similar space. I would sing. I would do gigs. I would do poetry and spoken word. I was interested in speaking, and I was doing all these things. I would tell them to focus on no more than two or three things, tops, and give your energy there and always reserve a little something for your own personal. So 75% of your time, focus on other things. Give it 100%, but don't try to do 4, 5, 6 different things and work with every one. You have to listen to your spirit. The spirit of discernment will tell you if you should do certain things. And if you really learn to acknowledge that resides within, you'll make less mistakes, you'll reserve your energy, and your opportunities and choices will probably fare a lot better for you.
Even more sage advice indeed, especially in the multitask generation we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially knowing there's no such thing as multitasking. There's a word to define something that really doesn't exist. That's interesting.
Oh man.
Or put it like this. It exists, but it's not something that's really proven to be productive. It's something that works, but it has not proven itself to be truly productive. It's something that people do, but You don't give ample time needed when you're doing more than one thing. So it's great to think you're multitasking, but are you really giving each endeavor or each task the attention it deserves to be a good project or to have a good outcome?
That is true. So I guess in a way it's more of switch tasking than multitasking.
There you go. There you go. You're subbing, tag teaming. I'm in. Okay. I'm editing. I'm on social media. Okay. I'm on my video editing. Okay. I'm back on social media. Okay. I'm checking email. Yeah. You're not really doing them at the same time.
It's true. It's true indeed. You really can
Even if
only
you're,
do one at a time.
even if you're ambidextrous, you can't do both things at the same time.
So speaking of social media, where can we follow Sir Charles Cary to keep up with you and buy your books and all that good stuff?
Well, if you listen to this podcast, all you got to do is put podcast in the subject and send your request to this email address, sircharlescarey@gmail.com. And I'll be honest with you, I think the books or the products that will best suit those listening to this podcast would be Radiate the Brain and Change the Game, or the brand new book that just came out, Aligned by Design, LinkedIn to Your Legacy. And that website, sircharlescareyinc.com/store. So you can either send me an email and I can send you the link, or do what most people do, go directly to the website yourself and purchase your own products. You don't need my permission. Go ahead and take advantage of it. I don't mind. I love to be a part of your life and work with you as closely as possible. And as far as the social media bit, I am on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter, and the handle is the same on all platforms. Sir Charles Cary.
Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you indeed got all the information to help you get started to radiate the brain and change the game. Make sure you head over to his site, pick up his books and audio programs to help you get started on advancing yourself. Thank you so much, Sir Charles.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time.
Thanks a bunch for your tuning ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to, once again, check out my book Going North on Amazon.com and CreateSpace.com. And if you'd like, feel free to follow me on social media at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Dom Brightman, YouTube at Dom Brightman. And if you want to connect on LinkedIn as well, I am there at Dom Brightman as well. Go out there and make the rest of your week the